Children, in today's class, we're going to talk about life process. This is a very interesting lesson, and it's also very first lesson in 10th standard, class 10. The life process, in this topic, I told it is an interesting topic. Why it is interesting? Because it includes so many systems that is there in our body and also in plants. There are so many life process, it is happening in our body as well as in plants. We are going to talk about that. So first let me explain to you what is life process is all about. So certain basic functions that is occurring in the living things, which is essential for the survival of a living organism. Without those life process, the living organisms will not sustain. Such process which are very important for living beings, for the survival of the living beings, we call it as life process. Certain important process or function that occurs within our body, which is very important to maintain the life, that is called as life process. Some of the functions that are included here, the nutrition, the locomotion, sensitivity, growth, respiration, excretion, circulation, osmoregulation. These are all some of the functions. So I'm going to explain to you about what are all the life process that is occurring in our body as well as in certain plants. I'm going to explain to you about that. The first thing that we are going to talk about, it is called the nutrition. First thing is nutrition. So what is the nutrition is all about? The term nutrition means process of obtaining nutrients. The process of obtaining nutrients, we call it as nutrition. The process of obtaining nutrients, we call it as nutrition. So these nutrients are very important for our normal functioning of our body. For growth and development, we need nutritions. There are so many nutritions are there which we obtain through the food. One is the proteins. Carbohydrates. Lipids. Vitamins. Minerals. And water. These are all different types of nutrients. So the process of obtaining proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, minerals, vitamins and water, we call it as nutrition. So nutrition is also a life process. It includes the process of digestion, absorption, assimilation, all those things are there. So nutrition is also a very important thing. The another important function, the another important life process, it is respiration. It is respiration. So what is this respiration is all about? During breathing, we'll take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. During breathing, we'll take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. So what is happening to that oxygen? How the carbon dioxide comes out of the body? It is because of this process respiration. During respiration, the glucose molecule C6H12O6, this is the glucose molecule. It combines with oxygen. So you can see it here, the oxygen what we are taking in, it combines with the glucose molecule. So this is the glucose molecule. So glucose plus oxygen. We call this process where the oxygen is combined with the glucose, we call this process as oxidation of glucose. Oxidation of glucose or oxidation of food. When the food is oxidized, when the glucose is combined with oxygen, that is called as oxidation of food. Oxidation of food, it produces 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water plus energy. So the ultimate aim of respiration is to obtain energy. So this energy, what we obtain during respiration, it is used for all physiological process. There are various functioning happening in our body. All that functions, it requires energy. That energy, we call it as physiological functions. For that, the energy is provided by the respiratory process. So without respiration, we will not get energy for various physiological process. So respiration is also very important life process. Next is transportation. What is transportation? The term transportation means movement of molecules or transport of molecules within our body. The transport of molecules within our body, it is called as transportation. Transportation means circulation. What is circulation? It is nothing but transport of required substances within a body. That is called as circulation. Even circulation occurs in the plants. So through circulation only, the required substances are transported within the body. So what are the substances that are transported in our body? The transporting substances, it includes the nutrients. The nutrients are transported within our body with the help of blood. Apart from that, the nitrogenous waste are transported. Apart from that, the carbon dioxide and oxygen is transported. The hormones are transported. So like that, so many substances are transported within our body. Similarly, in the case of plants, water molecules are transported, nutrients are transported. Similarly, the minerals are transported. So we have a transporting system both in the case of plants and animals. All those things are very important life process. So that is also there. Without that, the organism will not sustain. Next is excretion. The next important function, the life process, it is excretion. What is excretion? What is excretion is all about? In our body, there are a lot of metabolic reactions takes place. In our body. Lot of metabolic reaction takes place. All these metabolic reactions, it produces waste. Almost in all organisms, metabolic reaction takes place. All this metabolic reaction produces waste. These waste that are produced, we actually call it as metabolic waste. This metabolic waste, it includes three things. Ammonia. In some organism, the metabolic waste are ammonia. In some organism, urea. In some organism, uric acid. Apart from that, certain salts are produced in our body. And sometimes even water. Even carbon dioxide. These are all some of the waste that are produced in our body. Even in plants, water is a waste. Because plant absorbs continuously water, it uses enough water, but the excess water that is present in the plant, we call it as waste. It will go out of the plant by a process called transpiration. So these are all the metabolic waste. The metabolic waste are present in the plant. These metabolic waste that are produced, it should not be there in the plant or in animals. So the metabolic reactions, as I told you, the metabolic reaction produces the waste. Those waste are called as metabolic waste. These metabolic waste, it has to be removed. So the process of eliminating metabolic waste, the process of eliminating metabolic waste from the body, the process of eliminating metabolic waste from the body is known as excretion. So we are going to talk about excretion in detail. What are the excretory organs in various animals, how excretion occurs in human, how excretion occurs in plants. So this is also very important life process. So far we have learnt about the life process nutrition, we have learnt about respiration, we have learnt about transportation, we have learnt about excretion. The next important function that is which is life process is control and coordination. Control and coordination. The next important life process that occurs in our body, it is called control and coordination. In our body, as well as in plants, there are controlling systems are there, which control and coordinate various functions in our body. In plants, there are substances called phytohormones. Phytohormones are produced. For example, auxins, gibberellins, cytokinin, ethylene, abscisic acid. These are all phytohormones. Phytohormones. So these phytohormones, it helps in control and coordination. It helps in growth and development of the plant. In the case of animals, we have two important systems which control and coordinate various functions. One is the nervous system. The nervous system. We are going to talk about the nervous system also. Nervous system. There are three types of nervous systems are there in our body which control and coordinate various functions. What are the three types of nervous system? One is called the central nervous system. Central nervous system. The next one is peripheral nervous system. The next one is autonomic nervous system. Peripheral nervous system, central nervous system, autonomic nervous system. This nervous system is a very important coordinating system. Apart from the nervous system, we have endocrine systems there. Endocrine system, which includes so many glands in our body. Pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, adrenal gland, thymus gland, gonads, pancreas. These are all various endocrine systems in our body which produces hormones. The chemical messengers to control and coordinate various functions. Even we are going to talk about that in detail. So see here, in this topic, the life process lesson, so many systems are included. The next thing that we are going to talk about, very important system, that is very important process that occurs in our body, it is called as the growth. It is called as a growth. So growth is another important factor, growth. How growth is very important. First, let me define you what is growth. Let me define you what is growth. So you can see it here. Growth is very important factor. I'll explain to you what is growth. The term growth means the process where an organism increase in height and weight. It's a gradual process. It's a gradual process where an organism increases in weight, as well as increases in height. So an organism increases in weight as well as in height. That is called as growth. So the growth is also very important life process that occurs in our body. The next life process that I'm going to explain to you is about the reproduction. Reproduction. So in the 10th standard, as I mentioned that these lessons are included. For example, the control and coordination, it is there as a separate lesson for you. Reproduction organism, separate lesson is there. That they are going to learn a separate topic. But certain life process, we are going to learn from the first lesson itself. I'm going to explain to you that. The next process, it is called as reproduction. The next life process is reproduction. All living organisms, they reproduce. What is reproduction? The ability of living organisms, to produce their offspring. That is called as reproduction. The ability of living organism to produce their offspring. So the reproduction, it involves several processes. We have sexual reproduction. This is one method of reproduction where both the male and female organisms are involved. Sexual reproduction. One process where both male and female organisms are involved. The other one is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction. Here, any one organism is involved. The fusion of gamete does not take place. Only one organism is involved. One parent is involved. So within this asexual reproduction, we have vegetative propagation is there. Vegetative propagation means producing organisms from plant parts. Plant parts like root, stem, leaves, all those things. Bud. That's called vegetative propagation. This is also a very important life process. Finally, the movement. The movement is also another important life process. So what is this movement is all about? Movement means also called as locomotion. Locomotion and movement. Locomotion and movement. Certain organisms, they locomote on their own. Certain organisms, they need some organism to locomote. What is locomotion? Moving from one place to another place. Movement of organism from one place to another place, we call it as locomotion. Movement of organisms from one place to another place. Here, complete displacement of organism takes place from one place to another place. That is called as locomotion. Whereas movement is an organism, it is confined to one place and they are showing some movement. For example, I am standing here, I'm waving my hand, that is a movement. I'm just moving my lips, that is a movement. My eyes are flashing, that is a movement. So those movement is different from locomotion. Even that is also a life process.